How are you all doing tonight? My name is Bigbobbedboi and welcome. SoD Hunter is shaping up to be dope. So let's go over it. There's a lot of videos out there already on this. Most of them were not very good. I watched them. They just like read off the names of the runes and say, wow, that's OP, or I can't believe Hunter's getting that, no way. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to break this down by builds. We're going to look at possible Hunter builds for level 25. As this is pre-release, there's some speculation here, but I think it will give us a good idea of the direction SoD Hunter is going to go in, even if the details aren't nailed down yet. But I'm not going to speculate a lot about level 60. So much is going to change by the time we get there. That's not super worth it. Anyway, Marksman first. Marksman. Truly the basic bitch of vanilla. But sometimes basic is good. And Marksman is going to be solid. Let's look at the runes we want to use for Marksman. So chest. These are our chest options. Aspect of the Lion. This was moved to a chest rune. It's not a belt now. It is king, so that is 10% buff. But it was updated to give the hunter an additional 10%. That's not bad, but it's likely this won't be our go-to unless we need to be the ones buffing kings, and that may happen. Expose weakness. Unfortunately, this is the Wrath version, not the TBC armor debuff version. Scales with agility, so that's nice, but numbers wise, this is likely to fall short, and actually it might have already been removed. It wasn't going to be that useful anyway. Master Marksman, 5 crit and mana reduction. In Classic, Hunter can have mana problems, but in a raid with full buffs, you should be fine. However, all the mana costs are kind of changing. They are being swapped over from a flat number to base mana. I doubt that will change our actual usage a lot, but it could. In all likelihood though, this is just going to get left behind. You're not going to use Master Marksman, even though you're actually a marksman. I don't know. Lone Wolf, Jesus Christ. This is really strong. 25% increased damage with all attacks, not just ranged, while you do not have an active pet. Now this is the best by quite a lot. On a good day, your pet is doing about 10% of your damage in raids as marksman. So not only is this a huge DPS increase, it just makes marksman a lot easier to play because there's no pet management. Cobra Strikes. This has no place for marksman, so we can skip it. Meaning marksman will want Lone Wolf and sometimes Lion if we need to be doing that king's buff. Alright, the leg rune. Kill command. This is not for marksman. Serpent Spread. This is pretty interesting, and I'd say it's situationally useful, and those situations are very rare indeed. But it is a pretty neat idea to be able to AoE Serpent Sting. Sniper Training. Your shot abilities gain 30% increased critical strike chance while you have not moved for the last 6 seconds. This is fucking ludicrous. This could get nerfed, however, it did survive another build update. It is still 30% crit right now. Obviously, this is the rune for Marksman, and I know I said it's fucking ludicrous, but I'll talk about it in a later section. Maybe it's not that OP. Glove Runes. Beast Mastery. This is obviously not for Marksman. Carve is a melee ability, not for Marksman. That leaves Explosive Shot and Chimera Shot. Chimera Shot is probably better. Probably. Right now, Explosive says it shares cooldown with Arcane Shot, which would also mean shares cooldown with Aim Shot because Arcane Shot and Aim Shot share a cooldown. But that is probably just left over from when they copied this tooltip from Wrath. Because in Wrath, Arcane and Aim Shot don't share a cooldown, they do in Classic. My assumption is both are meant to be new shots that don't share cooldowns with existing skills. Until other runes come out, like maybe Lock and Load, you just want whichever is going to be higher DPS, and that's probably Chimera. So a level 25 build for Marksman would look like this. It's level 25. We don't have a lot of points to spend, but getting aimed shot and lethal shots is pretty important. Since we're capped at 25, you do have 5 more points to spend. Improved Hawk isn't that good, and you might not even be using Hawk, so I would probably skip that. I would personally go for 2 in Hawkeye and 3 in Humanoid Slaying, but those 5 points are pretty fluid at level 25 depending on what you're doing, so maybe you would want those in the ones for, I think it's Beast Slaying and you may need 3 in Hawkeye if there's a specific ability that will let you outrange. These last 5 points are going to be kind of situational. Beast Mastery. BM is going to be really, really good. BM was already fantastic while leveling, and even at 60 it was good on very short fights. At the level 40 bracket, I'm expecting BM to be kind of insane. The reason I think BM is going to be so good is pets are going to scale. Yes, I am serious. We don't have the details, but pet scaling to some degree has been data mined. There is no pet avoidance ability yet. That is important, but I do think we will get that. I mean, come on, Blizz can't be that stupid, right? Right? But even without avoidance, you can keep your pet alive pretty well through all leveling content. And even in most of MC, like it's kind of hard on Rag, but every other fight it's not that big of a deal. I guess Shazra, but that fight is just kind of terrible anyway. So let's check the BM runes. Chest is similar to Marksman, just swap Cobra Strikes for Lone Wolf. Although Lone Wolf BM Hunter would be kind of based actually. Legs, probably go straight for Kill Command, right? Well, maybe. So right now, this version of Kill Command is a 1-minute cooldown. There is almost no way that can compete with Sniper Training, especially with how well Sniper Training synergizes with Cobra Strikes. I would rather see this Kill Command turned into the TBC version of Kill Command personally. And maybe, if you want to be really good, add in something like that Beast Lord set bonus to it. Do it, Blizzard, please. But yeah, probably we're going to want Sniper Training here, even as BM. Gloves, obviously, Beast Mastery. This is a pretty huge stat bonus for your pet, and depending on how much pet scaling they add in, this could be extremely strong. So our build would look like this. You can move the first tier talents into Hawk if you know you're going to be using it, but again, that's not a big deal. This will give us a few important things like improved revive pet, as BM not having improved revive pet is fucking awful. Our pet will also get a flat 20% damage bonus and 3% crit. But this might also work. What the fuck? This is just a Marksman build. Yeah, so the issue here is a lot of BM's best talents are really deep, so it might end up being more damage to just grab aim shot and the 5% crit. We're not going to have the insane amount of crit at low levels, so that bonus crit for Cobra Strikes is pretty nice. But also, aim shot is dope shit, and it is rough to go without it. On top of not getting another shot ability from our glove rune like the other specs would. This is one reason I said it would be nice if we got the TBC version of Kill Command. Without it, BM is always going to be 1 button down compared to other specs, and while leveling, you'll be 2 buttons down. While I do think BM is going to be good, it doesn't really start to pick up in the 20s, but it will soon. Survival. Survival runes are going to be the same as Marksman, unless they add in a talent to make explosive shot better for survival or something. Unfortunately though, yeah, there's really no reason to play ranged survival at level 25. Later on down the line there will be. Survival was already pretty competitive with Marksman at 60 in Classic, and they are making changes to survival in SoD. Wyvern Sting is now completely different. The damage is now done over 6 seconds, and it's more than Serpent Sting, and the cooldown was reduced to 1 minute. This is not a world-shattering change by any means, but this is more damage for survival when it was already competitive. So it might not look good at level 25, but survival will get its time. And they might even add in an effect for Chimera Shot with Wyvern Sting, since that wasn't something you could do previously, but you can do now, we can hope. And the final build to look at, the one I am most excited for. Melee Hunter. Unlike Cause, or some say Cosm, Hunter Jesus has heard our prayers and delivered unto us. Melee Hunter. It looks really good, but let's get the worst part out of the way first. So, chest rune is boring. It's pretty much just Lion. It's not impossible that Lone Wolf is usable as survival melee, but it's looking like Lion is the way to go, and I would not be surprised to see a more melee focused chest rune show up later. Pants rune is where things start to get interesting. Flanking Strike is our Pants rune. You and your pet deal simultaneous instant 100% melee damage. Afterward, your Mongoose Bite and Raptor Strike deal 10% increased damage for 10 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. Raptor Strike has a 20% chance to reset the cooldown of Flanking Strike. This is giving me Retail Mongoose vibes a little bit, but changing the duration gimmick with a reset to Raptor Strike. I am all fucking for it. The only thing not clear here is if Raptor Strike consumes the plus damage buff. I don't think it does, but this would give Hunter an interesting ramp up mechanic like Monk and GL3 if you played FF14 back in the day. Now, speaking of Raptor Strike, it seems like it got completely reworked. Here's the Raptor Strike we know and kind of love. It's an on next melee hit, 6-second cooldown, so it's really similar to Heroic Strike and it is similarly boring. But SoD has this version of Raptor Strike. Instant attack, 3-second cooldown. Oh hell yeah! Now Raptor Strike refreshing Flanking Strike makes a lot more sense. I don't know if only melee hunters get this new version of Raptor Strike or all hunters, because that would have an effect on melee weaving. Warrior has Quick Strike, which changes Heroic Strike, so I'm assuming Hunter's going to have the same thing, and this is only for melee hunters, but I'm not positive. And our last rune slot, the Gloves, Carve. This is kind of like a melee version of Multi-Shot. 6-second cooldown, targets in front of you, but it's not limited to 3 targets, so that is nice. And actually melee hunter might have the best AoE of all hunters, which is really weird. So our melee hunter build looks like this. We've got enough points to get humanoid and monster slaying, so that's nice. And we have to get the 20% crit for Raptor and Mongoose Bite. Outside of that, Clever Traps is the most important. The other points are a bit more fluid. More HP versus parry, HP is probably better, and you can get deterrence if you want. It's only 1 point and it's useful when soloing. You gotta remember, we're not gonna have FD at this level. Then for level 25, you can get 1 point in Sure-Footed or Trap Mastery. Both are very good. Wait, why would you want Clever Traps and Trap Mastery? Oh yeah. So here's what traps currently look like. Here's what they look like on SoD. Did you see it? It doesn't say traps can only be placed when out of combat. Shit boys, trap weaving. God, I love traps, especially IRL traps. Maybe they will walk this back and traps will only be usable out of combat like normal. But right now that is not the case. So if melee hunter can just drop explosive and MO traps whenever they want in combat, on top of your new melee abilities, oh yes, Hunter Jesus has delivered. Melee hunter is gonna be dope shit. This is also a bonus for range hunter builds as well, but come on, not as much as melee hunter. And you will have MO trap for the BFD raid, but unfortunately rank 2 MO trap is levels 26. God damn it, come on, why 1 level, come on. And explosive is 34, so you will have that for whatever the level 40 rate is, so that's nice. And one small final thing about traps. Yes, that says 40-yard range. We may get a trap launcher in SoD. That is incredible. I don't have words to express how amazing it would be to have a trap launcher in SoD. SoD is actually shaping up to be extremely good. But I don't want to get my hopes up too high. A lot of this stuff is going to change before release or just not happen at all. But we might be getting a trap launcher. Hunter Jesus is really here for us. PvP. So PvP is probably going to be a big part of SoD, and Hunter is looking really good for PvP. All classes are getting more damage. That's kind of a given, but I haven't seen many classes getting new movement abilities, anti-CC abilities, or even new CC abilities. So like Shaman is not getting Hex, Rogue doesn't get Shadow Step, Paladin doesn't get Divide and Steed. Mage may get Water Ellie in the future. There was some kind of Water Ellie data mine, but that's about it. Outside of Warbringer, that's a bit troubling. But for the most part, CC chains aren't changing much, just everyone doing a lot more damage. At the 25 bracket, I think Hunter will be alright, but at the 40 bracket, Hunter's going to be kind of insane unless they make some big changes. With the exception of Melee Hunter. Right now, Melee Hunter just has shit all for mobility. It would be kind of cool if they gave us something like one of our melee runes, changing disengage into engage, where you jump at the target instead of away. They said they wanted to keep things thematically tied to vanilla, so that probably means no harpoon and no bombs. But without some mobility, Melee Hunter is looking a bit shit in PvP. Now, outside of PvP, how good will Hunter be? I'm actually thinking about making a video sort of covering the meta in regards to all classes. Let me know if you're interested in that. But for Hunter specifically, I think things look really strong, especially in these lower brackets. Hunter was already a really good DPS in Classic up until around pre-BIS. For these leveling raids, I expect Hunter to be really competitive, maybe even at the top of a lot of encounters, just depending on how much they favor ranged or melee. If you look at the logs for Classic, Hunter was fine enough in MC and Ani. Based on current changes, we are going to do phenomenal in those two raids. We do fall behind pretty hard in BWL and AQ. After some of the changes to buffs affecting ranged attack power, Hunter did climb back up in Classic. So in Nax, we were okay. Not great, but not a dumpster fire either. I think Blizz is going to try and pull these numbers closer together. Hunter could be 4th or 5th overall. That doesn't sound bad, but when top DPS is doing literally twice your damage, yeah, it is kind of bad. So to put it short, I'm expecting Hunters to do extremely good while leveling in the first raids, then fall off a bit, but not nearly as badly as before. Nobody's going to be doing twice our damage or 3 times our damage or any of that insane shit. And when I mentioned like how strong Lone Wolf and Sniper training were, you can look at these statistics and see, even if Hunter was to get a like 60% damage bonus, we're not suddenly doing twice as much damage as Warriors or something crazy like that. And Warriors are going to get a little bit of a damage bonus as well. So while the numbers on stuff like Sniper training seem really crazy, in practice it probably won't really be that crazy. And just because, let's look at these. So there are a few abilities Wowhead scraped that look really interesting. On the move and call your shot. What the fuck are these? Now they could be nothing, they could have been testing, they could have been for an NPC and just mislabeled, they could be anything. Could have just been a dev having a wank, I don't know. But on the move seems really cool. This could be some kind of speed boost for Melee Hunter, but the description, moving too fast to hit, for some reason, that makes me think of Rogue Smoke Bomb. So like you can still be seen, but you can't be attacked. That would be pretty wild, and that would help Melee Hunter a lot, because yeah, they're not looking so great in PvP right now. I have no idea what Call Your Shot is. Let me know what you think this is. And there were also some abilities that looked like new pet abilities, but they were really unfinished and there wasn't a lot of info on those. So I'm not going to go over those right now, maybe in a future build. And we do know there will be some new pets, so nice. If you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button, like button, Melee Hunters rise up, but not in PvP button, all that other shit. I appreciate each and every one I get. And I'll be streaming an absolute assload of SoD here on YouTube. Who wouldn't want to watch an assload of SoD? Next, I'm either thinking of doing a video on that sort of meta of SoD as a whole, maybe going over Hunter pets. I feel like things are going to change here, but also with these different raids, the pets you would want for these raids are not going to be the same pets as ones you would want level 60, so that could be something worth going over. Let me know if there's something specific you'd like to hear about in SoD. But that is going to be all for this one. I really appreciate you all watching, and I will see you all for the next one. Alright, for the super fans that are for some reason still watching, let me know, was the audio any better? I spent like 3 or 4 hours recording, tweaking, just trying to get the audio right. Let me know, please. Tell me it's better. Just tell me it's better.